of May 2025 to order. The board that is sitting to hear the cases tonight is Member Stephen Lianis, Member Monique Green-Berry, Fire Chief Brian Nardelli, Member James Sweeney, and myself, Chairperson Kenneth Galligan. Zoning Enforcement Officer, Building Commissioner, Clerk to the Zoning Board, Mr. James Plouffe. Our recording secretary is Monica Fagazzo. I would ask that if anybody has a cell phone or electronic device, if you could shut it off so it doesn't bother the meeting. And if you need to use the cell phone, just please step out into the hallway. The order of operations this evening is, first of all, a request for withdrawals. We have tonight two withdrawals, two cases that were scheduled for this evening that will not be heard. If anyone's here for this case, number 2529, the petition of Philip C. Nazarella, 1063 North Main Street, Brockton, Mass. For a variance seeking relief from Section 2725 and Section 279, requesting permission to continue to use the addition as a separate residence in an R1C zone located 226 Copeland Street. That case has been withdrawn. It will not be heard. The second case that has been withdrawn from tonight's hearing is case number 2530. The petition of Philip C. Nazarella, 1063 North Main Street, Brockton, Mass. For a variance, seeking relief from Section 279, 2710, to allow a company since 1977 to continue a use of its business, providing movable storage units to its customers, which is collateral and consistent with the primary use of renting trucks, vans, and trailers, assisting its customers to transport their personal belongings in a C2 zone located at 661 North Main Street. If you are here for that case tonight, it will not be heard. Prior to the start of tonight's hearing, there's an opportunity for anyone to withdraw without prejudice from the hearing. Is there anyone tonight that wants to withdraw? Okay, good. We have two cases tonight that will be heard. When I call the case, the petitioner will come up to the podium, present your case to the board, and after you have finished presenting your case, the board will have an opportunity to ask any questions about the testimony that was just given. Following that, I will close that portion of the hearing. I will then ask if there is anyone here that wants to speak in favor. Then I will ask if anyone is here that wants to speak in opposition. I will then ask if there's any elected officials in the audience that want to be heard on the issue. And lastly, is there anyone that has a question relative to the testimony that has been given? Following that, that will complete the public discussion relative to the request. At that point, I will then open it up for discussion among the board members. Now, this is a time when the board members discuss among themselves relative to the testimony that was given. At some point, you will probably hear one of the board members make a motion to grant. If that is seconded, I will call the clerk to call the roll. Each board member then will vote, and at the end of the vote, the clerk will inform me what the vote is, and I will then announce what the vote is and whether or not the petition has been granted. In order for a petition to be granted, if there are 5 affirmative votes, the petition will be granted. If the vote is 4 in the affirmative, 1 in the negative, the petition will be granted. Anything less than that, the petition will be denied. So a 3 in the affirmative, 2 in the negative vote will not prevail. That will be a denial. So I also want to let everybody know that tonight's hearing is being broadcast live on cable television. So you should be aware that all the testimony that is being given is being recorded. All right, board members, we ready to get started? Good. All right. The first case before us tonight is case number 2531, the petition of Maria Dos Santos, 38 Perry Avenue, Brockton, Mass., for a special permit seeking relief from Article 4, requesting to widen the stairway to the basement and covering and stair for side entrance and an addition to the back of the house for a kids' playroom and storage in an R1C zone located at 38 Perry Avenue. Want to come forward and present your case to the board? Please identify yourself.
Is Maria dos Santos?
Just speak up.
Okay.
Okay, if you can just explain to the board what you would like to do.
Okay.
Please speak right into the microphone so we can hear you.
I'm going to be your translator, so.
Oh, okay.
Que trabalho que você está fazendo de fora?
She said the work that we're doing outside.
Just move the microphone up.
Yeah, you're going to have to speak in. We need to hear you, so you speak into the microphone. Yeah. You can move it. You can hold it. Do whatever you want.
No lado de esquerda, você está fazendo shade.
She said on the left hand side, we built.
Dentro de meio, está ficar caixa escada que estava para o basement de fora.
And the middle is like a basement walkout.
Okay, I'm going to have to ask you, just come closer to the microphone because we cannot hear you. Not you.
Me, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, you see like on the basement, going to be a walkout at the basement in the middle.
Que está ficar para o lado de esquerda, aquele lado de escada que estava de cozinha para baixo, e aquele escada íngreme. Quando tu está trabalhando, o inspetor bala e checa, e para oprimir dentro, para poder aumentar 3 degraus para frente.
And he said on the basement, the stairway that comes to the basement, it's kind of narrow and dangerous for the kids. She wants to widen it more to make it more comfortable to walk.
All right, so the information that you have provided to us, it appears that you want to put an addition on the back of the house.
Yes,
Okay, let's start right there. So the addition is roughly 30 feet by 12 feet, which will go across the whole back of the house.
yes,
Is that correct?
yeah,
This stairway that you're talking about will be inside of the addition. Is that correct?
yeah, so, yes,
So if this is approved, when the addition is built, it will be the circumference of that addition. There won't be any bump outs for any additional stairs or anything like that.
no,
Okay. Now, the house that you're putting this onto is just over 6 feet from the property line. So if you build this addition along the same plane as the house, you will still be about 6 feet from the property line.
yes,
Okay, so under the codes today, it's required that you have 15 feet. So you're asking for relief for 6 feet to allow this addition to be put on the back of the house.
yes, if it's possible.
Okay, I'm just trying to help you through this a little bit here. So that would be under our section 27.9, which is side yard setback. So you're here tonight asking for permission to put this addition on the back of the house, where the addition will be along the same line as the side of the current house.
Yes,
Okay. There was an earlier communication relative to this site that basically said the basement cannot be rented out or used as another apartment. So it's not your intention to make another apartment in this addition.
no, no,
The stairs going from the basement to the first floor must remain open and clear without any intervening locks.
yes,
Okay, so you're just expanding the living area of your current house. It's very important that you understand that by putting this addition on, you're not creating a two-family house, it's going to remain a one-family house.
Yes. Yeah, it's gonna be, yeah, single family still.
Okay. All right, board members, got any questions? All right, I'm going to close that portion of the hearing. Is there anyone here that wants to speak in favor? This gentleman want to speak in favor?
For him? No, he's all set.
He's okay, okay.
He's with us.
All right. I'll close that portion of the hearing. Is there anyone who wants to speak in opposition? Seeing none, I'll close that portion of the hearing. Is there any elected official in the audience that wants to be heard on the issue? Seeing none, I'll close that portion of the hearing. Is there anyone that has a question relative to the testimony that has been given? Seeing none, I'm going to close that portion of the hearing. That concludes the public discussion of the issue. I will now open it up for discussion among board members. Board members.
This seems like relief that we've granted in the past, and when we see expansion of a single family, typically we want it in the back if possible, and it seems to fit. It seems to fit that request when we like to see it. I do like this, its congruity with the original footprint, so I really don't have an issue with it.
Yeah, and there won't be any further violation to the side setback, so I don't see an issue with it.
There seems to be plenty of room in the backyard. It's just that north side. I think what we need to consider is when we vote on this, if you vote in favor of this, we need to put a stipulation on here that it shall remain a single-family house, shall not be expanded to a two-family. And I think we should make it clear that what we're voting on, whatever they do there, as far as construction, has to be in accordance with the rules and regulations of the Brockton Building Department. That sound right, Mr. Commissioner?
That's correct.
Okay, I think that's reasonable. Motion to grant.
Second?
Okay.
With the
You
stipulation.
understand what we said, that it must remain a single-family house, and whatever construction you do has to be in conformance with the Brockton Building Department.
Okay.
You understand that?
Yes.
Okay, so a motion has been made and seconded. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Lanus.
Yes.
Chief Nardelli.
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney.
Yes.
Ms. Greenberry.
Yes.
Chair Galligan.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, that's 5 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative.
All right, so what just happened is we just took a vote, and we unanimously granted you the ability to put that addition on.
Thank you so much.
So just remember what we said about it must remain a single family, and everything you do has to be in conformance with the building department.
Okay, thank you.
All right, good luck.
Thank you.
All right, the next case is 2532, the petition of Sign Design, 170 Liberty Street, Brockton, Mass. For a special permit seeking relief from Section 2773 for all electronic message centers, EMC, in a C2 zone located 70 Westgate Drive. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Chair and Board. My name is Marie Mercier. I'm with Sign Design in Brockton, and I'm here to present the EMC, otherwise known as an electronic message center, to you today for 70 Westgate Drive. So in the drawings that we did submit to you, we do have two options on it, giving you guys the choice, and we did indicate, if you look, you can see it better on option number 1. The orange that's around the electronic message center was the original one that we proposed back in November last year before going to the planning board. So right now, Dr. Asarian, who could not make it this evening, has two different options that, he wanted to present. He, hoping that you'd agree upon one of them. So we have option number 1, which is a 19 by 8 feet 4 inches, or a 20 wide by, oh, that's not supposed to be, they had inches, that's supposed to be by 10 feet high. So those are the two EMCs. We also included in our package, I guess Wiley had, the salesperson had come up with the, what was it called? A study that was done on EMC boards, that we submitted some pages in that. I cut it down for you because it was a 49-page report. I didn't think you guys wanted to read that much.
Thank you.
So yeah, we understand it, as we said the last time we were here, the times on, times off, you know, the brightness of the board. He just feels that it's a good way for him to present the stuff, you know, the procedures and dental offerings that he has at that location. But he's also willing to put any messages from the town that needs to be publicized if you have a parade or anything going on, and also anything for missing children. So he's looking to work with the town also when he puts this up. I think that's all I have.
Originally, were there two signs originally? I mean,
No,
a big
we-
one, but was there two on the building before, or just, I don't remember?
No. We had a larger one
Okay, that's
that we
fine.
proposed, and then we had to go through, we went through the planning board and with the mix-up last month. So we're back here again to just propose the electronic message center.
So you show there's two options in here.
He's proposing two options for the city, for you guys to look at. Of course, the doctor would like the larger one, but we figured we'd put both of them in there. And we have the option one, which is a little smaller. The reason why the signage is because an electronic message center, or if I can just say EMC now,
Got it.
that we
Now I know what
understand.
it is.
They're panels that are put together, so each panel is a certain size. So it's not like I can cut 6 inches off
Sure.
a measurement. It's because of the panel sizes that are custom put together to make a board of certain size that he was looking at.
The section of the ordinances that you are requesting relief from, I believe, is the wrong section. You're requesting relief under 2773. 2773 is very specific to electronic advertising boards, which are the boards that are along Route 24. This is not one of those boards. I believe the area you should be in is 2765 and 2767. Just for clarification, I think what you have asked for is the wrong section of the ordinance. I understand what you're asking for, but I think you've cited the electronic boards that are
Like a
controlled
billboard,
along Route 24.
like a billboard type board?
big-
Is it the 2773?
That's what you have cited, and I believe we should be considering what's required in 2765 and 2767.
Okay.
So, Mr. Chair, we'll just change that?
Well, it's up to the board what you want to do. I think we understand that there may be some confusion here about electronic message boards, but it's, unfortunately, what they have referenced is the one that's for Route 24. I think they belong in 2765 and 2767, which really does not allow electronic message boards when it talks about time and temperature. This is the area that we have to deal with every time one of these things comes up. So it's really just a technicality of what section that they are asking relief from. So I think the last time you were here, we granted a pylon sign, which is a three-sided sign.
Correct.
At that time, you thought you were asking for the sign that you're here for tonight, and it was not on the agenda, so that's why you're here tonight.
Correct.
I thought I also heard the last time you were here that there was an understanding that the freestanding sign that is behind the building,
Yep, I think we have that coming down by the end of the month. We're pretty busy right now, but that is coming down. The one that's behind the building.
so in the application that you submitted in November of '24, you referenced 3 separate signs, which would have been the pylon sign, a second sign, an electronic message sign, and a third sign against the wall of the dental office. That was some time ago.
That was some time ago, and I think since we were denied and then needing to go to planning, the doctor regrouped and is only going after the pylon, which you've granted in the electronic message center.
Okay, so in the end, for this location, you're requesting 2 signs.
Correct.
One of which you have already been granted.
Yes.
And tonight, you're hearing on the second one.
Yes.
So there is no third sign involved here at
No.
all?
Nope.
Okay.
Good.
Board's all set?
Yes.
To have 2 signs. All right, it has been brought to my attention that if you want the 2 signs up there, you're going to have to ask for a variance under 2765 and 2767, simply because you have the ability to have either a pylon sign or a wall sign. In order to get 2, that would require a variance. And then what you're asking for tonight is the special permit, which is for the one on the side of the building. So I would think what you're going to have to address right now is why you need those 2 signs.
The pylon and the side of the building?
Correct. Right.
Well, this is one of the doctor's larger locations, and I think he's just trying to, I don't want to say advertise, but put out there what, it's for children, it's for adults, they do dentists, what's it called, like braces, orthodontist work, like Invisalign, they do, so this location has a broad amount of services that they do offer. So he's just wanting people to see that he is there.
Okay, so just keep in mind now that if you ask for a variance, you need to demonstrate to the board that there is a specific hardship as to why we should grant this. On a special permit, it's a lot less of a mountain to climb here because it's either we feel as though it works or it doesn't work. But a variance, you just need to explain to us what is the hardship that why this should be allowed to be put there.
I mean, basically for where he's located, because he's right off of, I work in Brockton, but I don't know Brockton that well. What is that? Is that 27 where you come in?
Yep.
Yeah.
So he's just looking to put out that there's a dentist office there. I mean, I think if you're looking for one, it's easier because you can see a larger sign or what they offer, or special on braces. Just trying to grab people's attention to pull them in, to turn into the mall entrance at that corner. And,
Would you say it has something to do with potentially the fact that the way the building is positioned on the property, that it adds better visibility?
I would, because it's on like a corner. You've got that main road there, and then you've got, what is it, Westgate, which is near the bowling alley. So it's kind of on a corner shape, a pie shape piece of property.
Bingo. Thank you.
Board members, any other questions? Everybody's good? You heard the last time you were here about the hours that the sign can be lighted.
Yes,
You're in conformance with all that?
yes,
And also, there is standards for the brightness of that sign,
correct.
where it's brighter during the day, darker during the night, and there is a standard, a national or a state or standard for that.
Yep, and this EMC that we purchased through Watchfire, who's very, I mean, if you look at most of the boards that are out there, I think Watchfire does probably 90% of them. So we usually go over with them before ordering any boards, the illuminations allowed, with the controller to dim and all, for the signs.
How does the owner of that sign control the brightness of it?
I think we have it programmed.
Does
And the lightness is programmed into the board. But then the time on and time off, that goes through, you have to get installed a time clock.
Yep.
So then you put the turn on, shut off time. And of course, that would vary with the time change that we have here in Massachusetts. But we do so many of these boards at Sign Design. So we basically, when we design it up knowing what the standards are, basically throughout Mass, because most of the time it's right across the board.
It's
where-
pretty universal. So my question was, there must be a light sensing device that determines when we go from brightness to darkness, and then a separate timer that would shut the sign off.
It's set to a timer to shut off and turn on, correct. That's a good question. I'm not that deep into the Watchfire signs, but I know there are different lumens that you can, the LED brightness that you can order, and we usually,
I was just asking if you knew how that adjusts itself.
I
Is that
really
a
don't.
manual thing that has to be done, or is it done kind of like light sensing device? You don't
it
know?
must be like a light sensing device. I'm not really too sure, so I really can't.
Okay.
answer
so
that
I just
correctly.
want to, in the conversation here, I think it's important that we as a board understand that if this was to be granted, that brightness is critical to the operation of that sign. And if it was granted, that would be part of a stipulation.
Oh, correct.
There's different brightnesses and also the time on and off. And there's a whole section here on what can be displayed, what can't be displayed. It can't change any more frequent than 10 seconds.
Correct.
It can't be animated. It can't be bouncing all over.
Correct.
You're all aware of all that?
Yes.
That's all here in this section now.
Yes.
It's
No,
in-
that I do know. I know that I usually tell my clients anywhere from 10 to 15 seconds. I usually give them a little longer so they won't go below the 10 seconds. And I know about the animation. It's not like a television screen. You're just to put a message up and then the message changes.
Well, again, in that location, anything that's animated is going to be a severe
Oh,
distraction.
it won't. I know. I've already gone over that with Patrick. I'm like, that they can't have any animation.
Okay, board members, any other questions? Everybody's good? I'm going to close that portion of the hearing. I'll open it up for public discussion. Is there anyone here that wants to speak in favor? Seeing none, I'll close that portion of the hearing. Is there anyone that wants to speak in opposition? Seeing none, I'll close that portion of the hearing. Is there any elected official in the room that wants to be heard on the issue? Seeing none, I'll close that portion of the hearing. Is there anyone that has a question relative to the testimony that has been given? Seeing none, I'll close that portion of the hearing. That concludes the public discussion. I will now open it up for discussion among the board members.
Well, I think this is like my fourth time seeing this case. This is our biggest, if not our biggest, close to our biggest business district. Chief made a very good point about the angle of the building. Front-facing signage might not do them any justice to an intersection that, when I last checked, sees 36,000 vehicles or more. I think we got to give our businesses a chance, especially when they're in a high-vis spot in our city. I have no problem with this. And on the two, I think the bigger one fills the wall out and looks better. If you're going to do it, you may as well do it right. So that's my opinion, and those are my thoughts on it.
I'd make a motion to grant the 20 by 10, amend it to a variance of 2765, 2767, and a special permit for the side of the building.
What size sign are you referring to?
The 20 by 10 one, the larger option one. Oh, I'm sorry.
Two.
Yeah,
Option
Option
two.
2, I apologize. Only because, listen, if we're putting a sign on the side of the building and it's that big, I don't think a foot's going to make a difference.
Is that a motion?
Direction.
Now, should we make a note that we're not voting on the 2773?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, I said about amending it.
Okay.
So,
If that's a motion, I second, Chief.
All right, I just want to have further discussion on it.
Okay.
I just want to make sure I've got the right one here. So the motion has been made for what's called option 2.
correct.
And a stipulation on the brightness. I think we got to put that in writing.
Okay.
And the time on and off. I think that should be stipulated. I just want to chime in on this. When they came here a while back, we granted them an extremely large pylon sign that was three-sided. There is nothing in our ordinance that allows a three-sided sign, and I think we were very giving when we allowed them to use the three-sided sign based upon the information that they provided for actually seeing the sign. I made a comment that night how big the sign was in relation to what is allowed in the ordinance. I tell you, I have a concern that between the sign that we have already granted and this sign that's being proposed on the side of the building, I think this is overkill for signage. Under 2763, 2767, there is a requirement that they are supposed to tell us the square footage of the front of the building so that we can determine whether or not these two signs that we have granted has grossly gone over what is allowed for signage on that building. And that square footage is based upon the front of that building. We haven't heard anything about that. The other thing on the height of the sign on the building, it shall not be more than 25 feet above grade. I don't know if the top of the sign is going to be 25 feet to the top of the sign, which is under that gutter that we see on the side of the building. So I'm just expressing my concern that I think this board, at least this member, I should say, granted them a huge sign on that pylon, a huge three-sided sign, and I'm just concerned that putting this thing on the side of the building in conjunction with the sign that we have already granted, this is going to be a huge sign. And again, my other concern is that traffic signal at Westgate Drive nearest to Pleasant Street. I just think that with these signs particularly changing, she says it's not going to be animated, I realize that, but as sign changes, people are going to be glancing at these signs and mesmerized watching the sign. I know, in my opinion, I think what I'm going to consider is that to put that first pylon sign up, see how that works, and there's a possibility you could come back to address this. But my concern right now, I think this is way overkill for the pylon sign, the sign on the side of the building, and if you went up there and saw all the signage across the front of that building, if you add all that up and put it into our ordinance, I think this far exceeds what they're allowed to do, and they're not asking to exceed that. So that's my concern, and that's the way I'm going to vote. So if there's no other discussion on this, we have a stipulation that you're asking for option number 2. We will not be voting on 2773. We will be voting on what I mentioned here, which was 2765, 2767. So we will be granting them a variance to allow them to have this additional sign because there's too many signs, and we're also granting them a special permit to have the electronic sign because it is not specifically described within our ordinance. So we all understand what we're voting on,
Yes.
okay? So a motion has been made and seconded. With those stipulations, will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Lanus.
Yes.
Chief Nardelli.
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney.
Yes.
Ms. Greenberry.
Yes.
Chair Galligan.
No.
Mr. Chair, that's 4 in the affirmative, 1 in the negative.
The vote is 4 in the affirmative, 1 in the negative. The petition is granted with the stipulations.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Have a nice evening.
All right, having no further business to come before the board, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
New adjourn?
We are adjourned.